Hello and welcome to the My Amazon Guy Friday live Q&A. My name is Noah Wickham. I am sales director here at My Amazon Guy, and I am here to answer any and all of your Amazon related questions. You guys will see right there a little pop-up every so often. We have our 2025 Q1 PPC guide out right now, so make sure you check out link below, as well as scan that QR code, get the full guide that we have put together for making sure you absolutely just kill, I guess is the best way to put it, kill your PPC in Q1. And there's a ton of different PPC promotional strategies, goes hand in hand with a lot of the videos I've been putting out on our YouTube channel as well. So check it out. Absolutely worth the time and effort. There again. All right. So we have a ton of questions to kick us off today. I'm going to be going through everything as much as I can. I'm gonna have to stop every so often and get some more because I have a scratchy throat thing going on today for some reason. So all of that being said, without further ado, let's hop in with Andy. If your main image is accepted on A/B split test, is that confirmation that the new image will be accepted if you decide to use it all of the time? Technically, yes and no. So A/B testing split image, you do have the same image guideline requirements. That is something that you have to abide by. So if it is accepted for the A/B test, a lot of times, yes, it will be accepted for regular images. That being said, there are exceptions here. So I have seen it before where A/B test does work, but then somebody then puts up their new image, and 2-3 weeks later, it gets taken down for some miscellaneous guideline breaking, right? So most of the time, the answer is yes, though. So you should be good if you get access there. Oh, we're just going to have this keep popping up. I see. The team was asking me beforehand if the QR code was going to bug me. Now I understand what they meant. Is it better to have the same generic keywords for all your variations or change them for each variation? Generic, I mean, realistically, it depends on what your variations are, right? If it's a color variation, there's going to be really no difference in keywords between one or the other. The only thing you want to keep in mind is looking at things like your hero product is likely going to index and rank for keywords faster than a non-hero product, right? So that's the type of thing. Keep that in mind, but for the most part, it's usually just going to be the same keywords across the board. How long do you have to have your price at before you qualify for a strike through when you lower the price? It's not a matter of time, it's a matter of sales volume. So you actually have to have sales volume on a product to be able to get a strike through pricing. That usually just takes a couple of weeks, usually 30 days minimum. So Amazon can essentially give you a typical list price, average price, and was price or reference price, I should say. Those are things that will come into account when you're talking about a strike through. So keep that in mind. Josh Kennedy, happy Friday, Noah. Happy Friday. I'm aware that Amazon reports our sales tax, that they do. I still report my sales tax quarterly because sometimes I have sales outside of Amazon. Should I still add my Amazon sales to the gross sales and or exempt sales areas when I file? If so, would I just use the sales amount from business reports for the quarter? I'm in Florida. You know, Josh, here's a great answer for you. I am not an accountant, nor am I a tax advisor in the slightest, and I can't answer that question for you. I will be the first person to let you know. Even when I was selling everything, I never did my own taxes. I still hardly ever do my own taxes. I will do simple filing type stuff, but for the most part, any question like this, just ask an accountant. You will have a much, much easier time than trying to research it yourself or anything. There are a lot of accounting firms nowadays as well that deal specifically with e-commerce and Amazon. So I would heavily suggest reaching out to one of them. If I had to guess, and again, not financial advice, I suppose. If I had to guess, the answer would be essentially it is part of your gross sales, but you don't have to send in for that quarter, right? So you don't actually have to send in the allotment because Amazon is doing that on your behalf for the sales tax side. You just have to still have the gross sales and obviously your profit percentage in there at the end of the day because you have to pay your own taxes on that. Let's see. Is there any obligations for your free ASIN review? And is the ASIN shared with other people and put on YouTube? No. Free ASIN review. If you want an ASIN review, send it in. We'll take a look. We'll have one of our team members go through, look at it, send you a video going over it, and yeah, No obligation. Richie, when do we get our U.S. tax documents from Amazon? Is it a 1099? I'm in the U.S. You get them, I believe Amazon says before the 20th. Let me check real quick. I think it's before the 20th, if I'm not mistaken, because that's the filing for most tax documents. Give me 2 seconds. I'll be able to tell you. Looks to me like usually it'll come out around the 15th, 20th. Available, yeah. So issued, available on or before January 31st. So they have to have it before the end of the month, which makes sense for how you have to do your taxes anyhow. So you'll have it before the end of the month. That's a requirement from federal law. What are the pros and cons of joining Amazon Prime on Shopify? Are you talking about like doing like fulfill like was it FCM or whatever, or MFC, where it's like merchant fulfilled Prime? I mean, I would say it's typically pretty good. You're going to be splitting your inventory up between, the Shopify and whatnot. So it's all going to be coming from the same place. So that makes things a little bit easier for some people. You obviously are going to probably be paying a little bit more in the fee side of things, but I push people towards it. If you don't have a Shopify store and you're looking to get a Shopify store, that's definitely the easiest route to go to kind of start yourself up when it comes to that. So absolutely. I would go for it if you don't already have it. Let's see. I enrolled a product in Vine program to improve rating. However, I received 7 review and my rating improved from 3.6 to 5. But after 2 Vine negative review, my listing rating disturbed and reached to a 3.3. Now what should I do to improve rating? Never do Vine again. This is why I hate Vine, because it seems like a good idea to get some reviews, right? The reality is that a lot of times Vine is just so subjective. So is ratings, to be fair, but Vine is so subjective and it can destroy you early on a product. Is the difference between 7 ratings and 70 ratings is negligible. So realistically, I do not encourage a lot of people to do Vine at the end of the day. You can, but it's not going to make or break it for you. What you need to do now, focus on a good strategy around getting reviews. Update a product insert to request reviews, make it a little bit easier for the end consumer. You can also put review generation software out there. So Helium 10 has one where it'll send a review for you. That's really all you can do. Focus on what the negatives were as well from the reviews that you did get. Why did they rate it negatively? See if that's something you can improve in the product or in the product detail page, right? So the actual listing itself. And then from there, you should be golden. Do holiday returns affect NCX? I think we talked about this a couple of months ago, and the answer is technically yes. So NCX rates and holiday return rates are based off of averages, right? So yes, it affects NCX to an extent, but I think they also, if I remember, released something talking about how NCX will be less affected around the holiday area for gifting items. So like if it was purchased as a gift, it does not affect your NCX rate the same. Let me see if I can find that. I'll try and find it during this Viper. I'll just keep looking every so often, but yeah, if I remember correctly, they had announced that where essentially if it's purchased as a gifted item, the return from that is not as affected as something that's a non-gifted item. So those two are kind of not weighted the same, I think is the best way to put it. Roichi, how do you get Amazon's choice on magnet page versus having it on your listing page? On magnet page, are you talking about Helium magnet? Like, let me. So if you're talking about, I didn't know magnet had an Amazon choice thing. I guess maybe it does. No, it doesn't look like that. Amazon choice. I mean, if you're talking about like the regular search page, Roichi, Amazon's choice is fully Amazon. It has to do with essentially being consistently available for stock, having really good sales volume, being really high listed within the category. Having on your listing page is just a matter of the same thing. So you get like Amazon's choice. There's like most popular. What is the other one? Amazon best product, I think. So there's a variety of different ones you can have. But the point there, Rich, is that it just is a sales volume thing and a consistently high ratings, consistently high sales volume, very little returns on the product. Those are essentially the three things you have to do to get it. The magnet part, if you could explain that, I'm not sure what you mean by magnet page. Hex Squad, I would like to know more about IP compliance. Yeah, I mean, what do you want to know, Hex Squad? So there's a lot to do with IP compliance, right? So brand registry is a huge thing. When it comes to making sure you don't violate other people's IP, that's really big. So, don't have other people's brand names in your listing. Don't have it in your A+ content, your images. Don't have it in your backend keywords or anything like that. So that's kind of first base scenario when it comes to not violating IP compliance. Secondarily, if you're looking for like your own, always be brand registered. That's the biggest thing. So make sure your product and your brand name is brand registered. This helps you immensely in the idea of fighting IP compliance and IP issues. Past, I mean, yeah, write any other questions you have. I'd be happy to dig into it super deep. Oh, you do have one other one here. How do you know if the product is patented product? You have to look it up. So, I mean, that's a difficult thing, unfortunately, Hacks, where you can actually look up on Google patent search. So let me share this real quick. So Google, if you use Google patent search, you can actually look up patents in Google. You can even find, for instance, if I just do like drain plug, right? So I can look up drain plug and we can find specific like articles, specific patents around, these are all for semiconductor memory. So you might want to be a little bit more specific than that. But the issue that you're going to have is without actually knowing the specific patent, it's so difficult to know. It's the type of thing where you really have to look up the product. If you're actually that worried about it, talk to a patent official. It's probably the best way you can go about it. Give me a second here, guys. My throat is killing me today. Is my mic good today as well? I feel like I've been really quiet lately, but I don't know if that's just mic placement or what that is. It might be something I'll have to figure out. Viper, would it be better to close out an item that is frequently returned badge due to NCX and replace the color with a different variation? Yeah, so can remove NCX rating for shipping. Okay, so let's start with this one, Viper. Yeah, so yes, technically, you can. I'm not the biggest fan of necessarily trying to come back from situations like this. It is very difficult if you have a frequently returned badge. If you have a new ASIN that you can try out that's similar, the question that I would really ask you is why is it frequently returned? Is it due to color? Is it due to an issue with the product? Is it due to what? Right. So there's a lot of different reasons as to why it could be frequently returned. But yeah, just I would say most of the time, just try it with a different product. It's not going to be worth your time or effort. Can you remove NCX rating for shipping issues since it was FBA? If so, how? For shipping issues, I mean, so no, yes, technically you can report it. So Amazon should auto take care of those things. But if it's a actual shipping issue that was an FBA situation, that's what the review is about, then yes, you can take it and Amazon will take that down. Now, the thing that I will qualify that with is if they say the box was damaged, and the product didn't do X, Y, and Z like I thought it would, that's still an NCX thing, right? So just because they have one part of it that's shipping related, that won't clear out the entire NCX. What is the NCX period? Is it over 30 days? I believe NCX is over 60 or 90. I don't think it's 30. I could be wrong on that, though. I haven't looked at NCX that deeply. in recent times. I'm sure we can figure it out real quick. Let's do this for you, Viper. I will pull it up. We can take a real quick look at it. Let's go to our returns. Looks like it is over a 90. Oh, as a 30 and a 90. So you're going to have a base average there, Viper, for it. So that's the thing. It's things will drop off, but it's going to be a base average for you. It's not just going to be, let's see here. It's one of those things I would think I would remember after all this time, but you'd be baffled at how, some of the things you just completely forget. Looking at it, yeah, I think it's over a base 90 as a 30 offset. Yeah. So I'm gonna probably go with that as it looks like last updated, yeah, 90. So it does have a 1 year as well, which I'm sure comes into play, but it looks like for most all of their star ratings, Viper, it's gonna be over a base 90. And you can always do a 30 and a 7, but I think base 90 is the typical for it. So stay off that one, I suppose. Or not stay off, but buy with Prime for Shopify. Do you suggest using it for your Shopify store? Does it count towards 10% brand sales or 10% MCF bonuses? I think it's the MCF bonuses if you have it fulfilled through that. That being said, I'm a fan of buy with Prime. It works great. The one thing I will caveat with that is if it's not the like primary thing, your Shopify isn't your primary thing, it makes it a lot easier to do. But if Shopify is a bit more primary and you work with like a 3PL or something like that, yeah, I'm going to typically say in those kind of scenarios that it's up in the air as to whether you should do it. So the 3PL situation, that's for people who have kind of multiple marketplace, multiple brands, things like that. But if you are just doing Amazon and you're like, I want to open a Shopify, then I would say absolutely that would be buy with Prime is great for you. All right, let's see. Stephen McKenzie, what's up, Noah? How's it going, Stephen? People are beginning to discuss the threat of AI disrupting the job market in the future years to come. Are they? Do you think e-commerce will be heavily affected by AI? Do I think it will be heavily affected? It already is. Realistically, I mean, think of all of the different things that Amazon has released from an AI perspective. We have Rufus. We're going to have Amelia soon, which is the seller version of Rufus, right? So it's for like seller support, but it's AI. We have AI generated images for advertising. We have AI generated content for titles, bullets, descriptions, all of that. We have, AI. There's entire companies that are built off the idea of, quote unquote, AI advertising, right? And ad automation. I mean, AI has already heavily affected e-commerce. We even use like ChatGPT for a lot of copy stuff, right? It's always good it's easy to use these things if you set up processes around them. They are tools to be used and to make life easier. Now, do I think that AI can fully replace an individual who is trying to grow a brand, who has a knowledge base around what to do on Amazon? No, I'm not worried about that either. I think AI is very, very overhyped right now for the actual level of ability and capability that we have. I also believe that AI is greatly, greatly being overblown from a usage standpoint. And people can quote me on that all they want, because there is a large difference between true artificial intelligence and machine learning softwares. There is a very large scope difference there that I think people are just overusing the word AI. It's not everything is AI. We should never should have allowed people to start using .ai instead of .com. The amount of software people that and SaaS people that reach out to me on a weekly basis being like, hey, you want to try out and test out our AI software? I get into it and there's literally no actual AI capabilities. Like an algorithm is different than AI, right? So I think that AI in general, like true AI, is years off from really, really replacing people. Now, do I think there is a place for things like ChatGPT, Perplexity, and things like that in the e-commerce space and workspace? Absolutely. I believe full-heartedly that in general, things like ChatGPT make e-commerce easier, and even just anything online easier for the average person. But I don't think that we're at threat of e-commerce or anything being taken over entirely from it. Also, images for products in general suck. They just suck. And people constantly will fake all these videos being like, look at this AI user generated content influencer video. Every single one I have seen is just fully faked. It is fully faked to the nth degree. It's not AI in the slightest. Viper, how often does Amazon charge for storage fees? Monthly. Next, how to find new keywords from SQP and what should we do if a most high relevant keywords is not performing? Should we target that keyword in other match types? Yeah, so that's actually an interesting one. The thing that I would ask you is when you say you're targeting a most high relevant keyword, what is considered most high relevant? Is that from SQP, or is that I'm selling a deck of cards and I think that the keyword ace of spades is extremely relevant, right? So there are two different scenarios there. But if it's not performing, I just would want to know what you mean by that. Is it not getting impressions? Is it not getting clicks? Is it not getting conversions? There's a lot of differences there. Typical thing that I will tell you is yes, try different match types, but also look at your bids and what your actual placement is. If 90% of your placement is, rest of search or product pages, try some top of search, see if that really helps you out. As far as how to find new keywords from SQP, I mean, I think that's pretty self-explanatory in the sense that that's all SQP is keyword. Keywords that have good impressions, good volume for your product, and that you're actually getting sales volume from. And that should be, an easy way to start targeting. If you guys are curious, I got some shots in my arms this morning, so I have to keep moving them because they are very sore. I also got blood drawn in it. Whole thing. Let's see here. Amit, which are the top 3 Amazon reports you use personally to track the brands you manage? We don't use a ton of, like, just Amazon reports. It would be typically we use like software to manage a lot of this, which gives a lot better full picture. Now, if I had to choose 3 reports, and this is now we're getting lofty. Now we're getting lofty in what we're asking. So I think first and foremost, always, if I had to choose 3 reports, let's go through this. If I had to choose 3 reports and 3 reports only on Amazon that I wanted to have, I think first and foremost, I would choose payment reports. I think that one is fairly obvious. I would like to know, oh, my face is now gone because of that. That might be an issue, Gil. Anyways, so I would choose payment reports. That is because payment reports is going to give us the most amount of information possible when it comes to understanding, how much we're making, how much Amazon is reserving, what our fees are, things like that. Payment reports is probably one of the most pinnacle in my mind. I think secondarily to payment reports, I mean, obviously ad reports, I would want to probably pull. Okay. This PPC thing keeps covering up my face. Anyways, I think ad reports is probably the secondary one I would pull on it. You need to know your ACoS. You don't know how much you're spending on advertising. You need to know how much you're making from advertising. You need to figure out what your tacos is. So payment reports, advertising reports, and then I think inventory report, right? So those are realistically, I mean, that kind of breaks down all of Amazon when you think about it. Each of those 3 reports, that's what you need to know. You need to know what your inventory levels are at. You need to know what you're making. You know how much you're spending. Those 3 reports do that. So hopefully that helps. How can we analyze our spending time? Can we do this through day parting? Analyze our spending time. Oh, do you mean like what time of day are you spending? Yeah, so you can when you are in your advertising, and let me see if I can do it on this one. I don't think I can because I don't think we have any ads set up here. But um when you are on your actual advertising, you can break down by a day by the day. So let me do this. Let's do today. Oh, the conversion path thing. I forgot about that. That's really cool. Um, let's see if I have one. Let's choose this one. So what I would do is base it on what you're actually selling. So you can look at your order volume and uh, I don't have it on this one. Dang it. Okay. Well, I will try and pull up another account for you, Iqbal, because I don't have it on this one. But let me try and explain it real fast. Essentially, you'll go to your advertising. Yes, day parting is what you're technically doing, but you want to take a look at your order report, look at when you're actually getting it. Now, the secondary layer of that is you should have a good idea of how much you're spending from an hourly perspective and what your ACOS is at certain hours. You can get this from doing an advertising or from pulling an export of your campaign and get your campaign level performance from an hourly perspective. So you should be able to have that information. And then from there, you can see whether or not your ACOS goes up during certain times, down during certain times. Remember the thing to note with advertising, the timing of everything on advertising that you see report wise is based off of PST. It is not based off your own time zone. It is PST only. So if you set day parting, for instance, for 6 a.m., that is 9 a.m. EST, 6 a.m. PST. So just keep that in mind when you're doing anything on the advertising with day parting. Roichi, I rank organically in some keywords that have a decent search volume and keyword sales. So when I entered this keyword in PPC, it wasn't generating much impressions and my bids were competitive. So I would ask, where was your placement? That's going to be my first thing. So is your placement top of search? Is your placement rest of search, product pages? Check your placement first, Richie. See if it's just not generating impressions in certain areas, where those impressions that you are getting are coming from. Secondly, is your bid competitive? Because that's something to know. If you're ranking organically, that's something to know. And if it has decent search volume, but that's also another question I would have is if you're decently ranked search volume or organically wise, I wouldn't worry too much about, cannibalizing some of that organic sales with more advertising. Now, if you're like talking about being like 60th and you're trying to get in first, yeah, you're likely need to be more top of search heavy and much more bid competitive. At suggested bid or a bit higher. So why are impressions higher if I'm ranking top 5? This is from Helium 10. Ooh, okay. So that actually gives more information on you. So if you're telling me essentially that you are higher than the bid, first and foremost, suggested bid means nothing to me. It's such a BS thing that Amazon does. Choose your own bids. Don't worry about suggestions. Anyway, so if your impressions are higher, so why are the impressions higher if I'm ranking top 5? Yeah, so that just comes down to your organic versus your paid, right? So people are seeing the organic, people are seeing the paid. You're probably not placed from a top of search placement. And I also wouldn't focus on that if you're rank 5. You're just trying to clean up from people who are searching rest of search. So a really big thing when you're super high ranked organic that I'm always going to try and get people to focus on is trying to capture rest of search and product page only. Because if you look at it this way, if you are rank 5, rank 1, rank 2, whatever it is on organic, people already see you at the top of search. Yeah, there's sponsored right there, but who cares? You're still getting a lot of that top of search. So what you need is the people who are scrolling down. That's who you're going after. So rest of search product pages, right? Trying to capture that audience that already scrolled past you once. Tony, what's the return rate percentage threshold before they put frequently returned on your listing? That is based on category. So every category on Amazon has a average return rate. And if you are above that average for your product's category, then you will get that put onto your listing, unfortunately. You have to get below it, and then, realistically, it kind of kills the listing. when people have that. Faison, how do you determine the right balance between automatic and manual targeting in an Amazon PPC campaign? And how do you adjust bids and keywords to optimize performance over time? So between automatic and manual, you shouldn't have more than a few auto campaigns at any time. Auto campaigns are really great for two things: low cost, ACOS targeting, getting gold panning through, things like that. That is what auto campaigns are great for. I love like an auto catch-all campaign that I throw every product into. Those do great. And I love gold panning with them. It's low cost. You figure out the keywords you need, things like that. Anything outside of that, you should be full focused on manual targeting. Auto campaigns should not be a heavy focus on any ad account if you are caring about your where your dollars are going and making sure every dollar is actually used towards growth of the brand. Now, how do you adjust bids and keywords to optimize performance over time? That's a loaded question, I guess. What's the best way to put this? You essentially have to look to see where your impressions are, what your click-through rate is, what your conversion rate is. What is your ACOS on the campaign as well? So do you, for instance, have a keyword that is 80% ACOS, but you're trying to be 40? Okay, so we need to lower our bid adjustment to optimize for performance. The biggest thing that I will always tell people is if you have a crappy keyword, do not be afraid to negate it. Keywords don't always, even if they're super relevant, could be the most relevant keyword you have. If it really does not work out for you from a tacos perspective or an ACOS perspective, then get rid of it. It's just, not worth it at the end of the day. So the big thing I can tell you always when it comes to pay adjustments is that it will be, if you're just starting, very confusing to know whether or not you should go up or down with your bidding. The biggest thing is just play around with it. Don't do the thing where there's nothing I hate more than seeing like someone who's just starting out with advertising and they will do, oh, we're out of focus now. Anyways, they will do like 2-3 cent bid adjustments, which that always bugs the crap on me. Like you don't have to only adjust your bid by 1 to 2 cents, right? You can do 5 cents, 10 cents, 15, 20, $1 even, depending on the keywords. So hopefully that kind of, clears some things up. My throat is still killing me. Maybe I'll have someone else come in or something. How to add more and more keywords in single listing and rank the product. Continually optimize your title, bullet points, descriptions, and back-end SEO. Always, always, always do that. Look on myamazonguy.com and just search My Amazon Guy SEO phase 1, SEO phase 2, phase 3. We have a ton of material on this going over all of our SEO phases. You should do one every single month. And that's kind of the thing. It just comes down to two things: changing out those keywords for more keywords, getting sales volume. Those are the two things that will help you increase your overall keyword ranking and indexing. There is nothing else to it besides that, unfortunately. Mark, making the move from arbitrage to building a brand. Ooh, I love that. I love that. Videos from this channel are very helpful. Thanks for the content. You are very welcome. I actually don't think I've made a single video on our channel about arbitrage to brand or anything like that. I mean, I've done a lot with arbitrage, but that's kind of interesting to know, Mark. I would be happier to maybe do that at some point in time. I think that would be an interesting type of topic. Let's see here. RJ, anyhow to get review for new products. We have a product that is 3 weeks old. Just takes time. That's all it is. It's time and sales. Expect that you're going to get 1, 2, maybe 3 reviews per 100 orders ish, somewhere in there. It's a super low percentage for review. You can increase this by having a really, really good product insert. I think I made a post recently about possibly the best product insert that I have seen. Let me show you guys, just because I think it would be really interesting for you guys to see this, get some ideas on it. It was a couple weeks ago. So this product insert, I bought some coffee pods. And this product insert is super good. It's not even asking for a review anywhere. They're just telling me that I'm going to get a free coffee mug when I scan the QR code. Awesome. Love that. If there's an issue or anything, if this doesn't work, if it's not compatible, I can scan this for an immediate return or a refund and everything. So that's really good. This in general, from a product insert standpoint, made me want to leave them a review, which I ended up doing. I left them a review. I thought it was great. Quick shout out as well. Go follow me on LinkedIn for more posts like that. But my point is that product inserts are super powerful for getting reviews. It gets people to read about your product, gets people to enjoy the brand, things like that. So do not hesitate to make a really, really good product insert at the end of the day. Just read that one. Let's see. Eric. I just want to test out selling outside of the USA. All of my inventory is in USA FBA. Would you recommend I just raise the prices a lot in the other country since Amazon's going to charge me a ton? Yeah, I mean, you can do that. The thing that's going to be an issue here, Eric. Oh goodness, I just hit my mic. The thing that's going to be an issue here, Eric, is if Amazon has a problem that says high pricing error because you change your price and it doesn't match with your other marketplace. Now, can you have a higher price in different marketplaces? Absolutely, but just don't have it way too high, or else you're going to run into potential high pricing errors. The biggest thing to know is when you're moving from like one to the other is I really would just send a small batch test to the fulfillment center for whichever country you're going to. So if you're doing the UK, if you're doing Germany, do a small test batch there. It will probably be significantly cheaper and you will get way better sales volume than trying to fulfill everything out of the US. Manan, how can we hunt drop shipping suppliers' websites for Shopify? I haven't dealt with this in a few years. I mean, obviously, things like Doba exist. So if you're looking for like a starting place, I would look at things like Doba, CJ drop shipping. There's always Alibaba, AliExpress, right? That's the big one. Oberlo is a great tool for people that want to. Reality is, I will tell you right now, drop shipping in 2025, not a thing. People can smell a drop shipped item from 10 miles away. 10 years ago, yeah, of course, everyone was drop shipping. But in this day and age, it's going to be so difficult to grow anything drop shipping wise. You're better off either doing arbitrage or starting a brand of your own. White label as well. Asif, hello, sir. I hope you're doing well. I am. If a product isn't converting on its main or secondary keywords, even though they're highly relevant, always with that, clarifier that they're highly relevant, what should we focus on to improve conversions? So conversion always, it sounds like you have great impressions, sounds like you have great click-through rate, you're not converting. Conversion comes down to two things: making sure that your product detail page is fully updated, make sure it has all the information that the end consumer wants, for one. And then two would be making sure that you have a good price. So price is always going to be the number one converting factor. Make sure you are competitive towards your top other people. The biggest thing is, at the end of the day, just make sure your product detail page has what it needs. It sounds like, if you're getting the clicks, it means you are probably pretty relevant. Conversion just comes down to those two things. So optimize for conversion at this point. A+ content, brand story, make sure your image stack shows all the information. Remember, pictures are for the people, text is for the robots. We have Punchy, who decided to just spam the same question that Manon did, so I'm going to guess they're the same person. I already answered that question. Let's see. Amelia says AI simplifies life. I would agree with that. Punchy, why did you spam the same question 100 times like I was not going to see it? Let's see. 3 weeks is still early. Request reviews manually, add inserts, etc. to incentives. Reviews take time to accumulate. Follow the 50%. Yeah, see, Blizzard Wolf gets it. He gets what we're talking about here. I like that advice though. Blizzard, have you just been answering all of these questions instead? How do you handle a situation where your product listing is suspended and seller account health support says they've escalated it to a specialized team, but you have to wait for their response? You follow up every single day asking if they have a new response as of yet. There's nothing else that you can do, unfortunately, besides that. It is just that and that only. It really is. Amazon takes forever in some scenarios to respond to people, and this is one of them. So yeah, if you have a situation like this where you're suspended, you just have to continue following up every single day. How I boost sale in 2025? What strategy is doing? Well, so I'll say this. First off, advertising is always going to be your sales boost. Focus on brand awareness this year. And the big thing is look at our YouTube channel. We're posting stuff every single day right now on our 2025 strategies. I posted a video last week going over what I think are going to be the biggest things in 2025. I would take time, 10 minutes, go give that a watch. It will answer your question and give you extreme detail. The biggest thing I can tell you is that 2025, in my opinion, is going to be the year of separation from brands and non-brands. I think things like Haul are kind of showing that, where we're pushing away from the idea of a brand in some capacity, but also raising other people up that are brands. So that's the one thing I would probably say. Asif, for a new product in the launch phase when running auto campaigns, what would you recommend? Should we target all 4 types? Yeah, target all 4 types. Let's see, or is it better to create separate campaigns? No, target all 4 types, Asif, always with auto campaigns. Do pretty much all your products in it, and then also create a gold pan that's like specifically tailored to that. The gold pan you can do. I would probably do close match most of all, because that's what's going to be most important for you for things like exact match. So yeah, that's it. I would just add them all together. There's not a huge boost by doing 1 versus 1 versus 1 versus 1. So, Roichi, I think I asked this several weeks ago, but can't find the answer. I have a product that has 6 different functions. My current 2 variations are ranking well on 2 of them, and I want to introduce a new color, but want to list it separately, focusing on 2 other functions. If I do that and I rank, and I want to then join as variation with the others. If I do this, will that new color continue ranking if my PPC is focused on its keywords? So now my parent has increased and created exposure of keywords to the other colors. Yes. Part of the purpose of adding products to a parentage is capitalizing off of the successes of the hero product in that parentage. So the answer there, short answer there, Rochi, is yes. And also, yes, you did ask it a few weeks ago as well. Rosina, hi. Facing problems in creating a new secondary user account in Amazon UK. Amazon is asking for full ID copies and ID verification, even for child user accounts. Yes, that is normal. Or is it just with you? No. In fact, I currently have my passport sitting right here for that exact purpose. I have it sitting on my desk because yes, secondary users in the UK and other countries and whatnot need, when you create that secondary user, it needs to have an identification for it. It is still a user account with Amazon. And so with that, that's kind of what we call drone accounts, right? So yeah, it's not just you, Rosina, it's everyone. Looks like we have a new member, Sajid. Welcome. And then let's see, Roichi. How do I find placement of those keywords? Placement is campaign level. So if you're on any campaign whatsoever, just go to, let's see. Oh, bid adjustments. Yep. So that's what it's called. So it's not placement anymore, I suppose. It's called bid adjustments now, but it's placement. So if you go to any campaign level whatsoever, and let me share screen. There you go. Go to any form of campaign. This is just an auto catch-all. If you go into it, there's bid adjustments here. It used to be called placement only, but this is placement. This is your bid adjustment, essentially. And then we have, yes, it was above suggested bid on the ranking keyword. I was talking about earlier. What is gold panning? That is a great question. So gold panning, I actually just had a gold panning campaign up. But gold panning, just so you understand, is essentially where you are trying to get just a bunch of keywords and find search terms, essentially. So the point of gold panning is essentially finding new potential keywords and targets that you can add and take out of an auto campaign and put into other ones. This is done by essentially creating an auto campaign, making it super low volume, super low bid. So it's not going to cost you much. And then essentially you get to see, okay, what actually works from a targeting perspective. Take that out of the auto campaign then, and then give it some actual budget, some actual bids, and see what it's going to do. It's really useful to understand what your cost per click on different keywords is going to be as well, and what click-through rate on certain keywords would be. Blessings from Spain. I'm planning on launching a baby brand. Ooh, should I start with 2 products? How many units do you recommend to cover 3 months inventory? The units perspective, up in the air. I typically tell people launch with around 200, 250 units. I think that's a very reasonable amount. So the way I would say that is, if your product is anywhere between $25 and $60 sale wise, I'm going to assume your cost of goods is probably somewhere between $3 and $8, maybe a little bit more, maybe a little bit less. Either way, 250 units, it's going to cost you roughly, let's say, $3,000 to $6,000 for your inventory costs or cost of good. That's usually what I'm going to tell people. So 200, 250 units, typically speaking, without including ad budget, you should be able to start on Amazon for around $5,000 to $8,000. It really depends, and that's not including your ad budget, but on your product. But that's very largely what I would say is kind of my general recommendation. I need more of this. I got a giant box of these around Christmas time. I'm just trying to get through them all. It's the year of sparkling ice. So, Jeed, I am about to launch my first product in about 2 weeks. The biggest confusion I have is what will be my PPC or advertising limit per day. My product is retail around $35 to $40. When you say your advertising limit per day, are you asking the question of how much should you spend per day? Or are you asking the question of what is your limit? Because you don't technically have a limit on advertising on Amazon. You could go ahead and spend $10,000 your first day if you really wanted to, and Amazon probably would not stop you. Maybe they would. I don't think they would, though. But if you're asking how much you should be spending, here's what I will tell you. It really comes down to what your budget is, what you can afford to spend in a month. Let's assume you're starting with $1,000 a month. So generally speaking, your daily budget is going to be roughly, let's say, $30, $35 a day to spend on advertising. You can set that from an account level. If you want, realistically, I always say set a budget on your campaign, not on your account. The reason for that is it's always fine to adjust a campaign and have a campaign slightly run out. But if you have your full account run out, that just means that you are fully wasting ad dollars. So, yeah, I would say it really depends how much you're looking to spend. But generally speaking, rule of thumb, $1,000 is a good place to start. If you're really looking to grow, times that by 4 and say, yeah, I can spend $120 a day or $160 a day and spend $4K a month. John Kim just launched new FBM product, and PPC bids for suggested keywords are between $2 to $4. Is there a good strategy to bid lower but still get impressions and clicks? If we discussed before, please link. Don't think we've discussed before. Maybe we have. I'm not positive, but $2 to $4. I gotta be honest, John, that's really average. That's not high by any means. Once we get to like $6, $7, $8, that's a little high, right? But $2 to $4 is not that expensive as far as advertising goes. So I just want to preface with that, just so you don't get your hopes up or anything like that. But how do you bid lower? Couple of different ways. You can always try and go after more long tail keywords, so not super high relevancy keywords, but keywords that can still potentially convert. Bid very low on them. Bid on product pages. Try and take over market share from smaller products or smaller market share products that are getting less sales volume. Look at our PPC 2025 Q1 guide that keeps popping up on the screen. That one might help. As well. But no, realistically, there's not a lot of ways to just like bid lower and still do well, especially on keywords that are really high search volume, right? So that's the biggest thing, is really just readjust, John, onto what it is you are actually going after from a bidding perspective. I knew you'd remember that question. Yes, I did. Eric, thank you. No, appreciate it. Always happy to help. I just failed in second product due to missed measurements. I have corrected the measurements now. Should I send 300 units or 500 units again? So if you failed, I mean, try 300. Like I said, if you're launching a product, I like 200 to 250, but if you want to do 300, that works well. If you want to do double that, that works well as well. But it sounds like if you failed once, I wouldn't take a super gamble with more units again. Give me one sec here, guys. There we go. Viper, what do you think of running Amazon ads using sponsored TV path? I received a $500 credit. Try it. First off, if you receive any credit ever to try something on Amazon, try it. What is the harm, right? It's not your money. You can do it. You're not going to see sponsored ads as some form of like conversion machine on the advertising side. What you might see is over the course of a few weeks, your tacos goes down, your organic increases, especially your organic brand term searches. The point of things like sponsored TV is not that someone is going to click on it and go and purchase it right then and there. Think about it. If you're sitting watching TV and an ad comes up, are you scanning a QR code? Are you going to a product? No. But if you see an ad 5-6 times, you might search that product on Amazon. So the point is, you will probably see an increase overall in your branded search term impressions and searches and search volume. And that's kind of the purpose of it, right? So think of sponsored TV as growing your brand, not growing your product or your conversions. John, do you have experience with trade fairs in US? I'm planning to go to ASD Market Week. Any advice on what to look out for there, etc.? Any suggestions on US-based trade shows I should attend? Yes, I do, in fact, John. I have been to probably, the majority of all e-commerce, just giant events, trade weeks, ASD. I've gone to that one. I'll be at Prosper probably, I don't know, maybe this year. Accelerate, everything, whatever you see, I've been to it. Here's why I will tell you. You are going to talk to a lot of people. You're going to go to a lot of booths. There are going to be a lot of people who are going to tell you that they can help you and that you are, not doing the right thing right now, and that there is so much growth potential for you, and that you just need to do X, Y, and Z. Oh, use our service. Oh, look at our, ability to, control and flex your advertising spend on a, half-second notice. And you're going to hear a lot of that kind of stuff, John. It's not all bad by any means. I make it out to sound worse than it is. And I act like I haven't been one of those guys. I have, right? I have been the guy that does that. But that's just something to know. You're going to be sold to a lot by a lot of people. Listen to everything and take everything with a grain of salt very heavily. The biggest thing I can really recommend when it comes to those is try and just see how much value you can get out of it and how many connections you can make. Because that is what will be infinitely more useful for you in the long run than anything else. If you can find one person who wants to sell your product or sponsor your product or work with you in some capacity that is mutually beneficial and not just one-sided, that is always a win in my mind. So just keep all that in mind. It costs around $9 and sell it at $30. What is your criteria to see if the relaunch is successful, or should I quit the product? Product is very researched and fits what customer wants. What you say, I'm not US resident. I have bank income transactions over 710K per year. Currently, I'm under LLC. Oh, okay. Here we go. So it's different thing. Okay. So here's what I will tell you. I'm not even going to try and pronounce. Anyways, here's what I will tell you. From the fact that it costs $9, I'm assuming you're saying that's cost of goods landed, and you sell it at 30, tells me there's $21 worth of gross profit before any fees are involved whatsoever. Unless you're telling me that it's $9 with fees and cost of goods, which I don't think. So you're making roughly what, maybe $2 profit on this per unit, $3, not much. If you're not 100% confident in the product, especially pre-ad dollars spent, I would not necessarily look at this as doing a relaunch. You don't have great margins there. Realistically, a $30 product shouldn't usually cost $9 to make. I would probably look at $30 product. You might need to readjust what you're selling it for. That's going to be a big factor here because that's a very, very low profit margin. I like to post all fees net profit margin be around 15 to 25%, like minimum for products typically. So just keep that in mind. Amelia, if I start selling in Spain and then move into the UK in about 8 months, can I still run my account in Spain, or should I reopen a new account in the UK? You can do both of them. Use Amazon Sell Globally. It's a super easy feature. It's under inventory. Just go to inventory, sell globally, and you can just open the account in the UK through that and then transfer your Spain listings over there and connect the ASINs. Super easy to do. Let's see. Christine, can you create a variation in the edit section of a listing, or do you have to do a flat file? You can do it on Amazon using the variation wizard. I will tell you, it sucks. It doesn't go through all the time. Use a flat file. Learn how to use a flat file for it because it will save you so many headaches down the line. I'm not US resident. I have bank income transactions over 710K per year. Currently, I'm under LLC. Do you recommend Inc or C Corp or S Corp? I am not a attorney or anything like that, or a legal professional. This is not legal advice. LLC. You're not making enough to where it makes sense to do any of the other three. LLC is just the easiest to do there. The only other one from there that I would even think to recommend would probably be an S Corp. But again, not legal advice. If I add someone to my LLC, do I need to update on my seller account? No. Innovation House. Updates to the listing title kicking in on 21st. Do you think Amazon is giving us a 14 days to adjustment? We don't want to proactively make any changes if Amazon will give us a chance to fix them. I think Amazon's going to do a slow roll here. I think they're announcing it on the 21st. I think what's going to happen is the first time it happens on anything, they're not going to take the listing down. They're going to preemptively warn you and then say, change it to this by X time. If you don't do it, your listing is going to be taken down. I don't think that this is super nefarious on Amazon's end. And realistically, I like this change. If you have any word in your title more than twice, why? Like legitimately why? I don't think it's that big of a deal though. I don't think they're going to be taking listings down left and right over this type of thing. EJ Kelly, Happy New Year. Happy New Year. I found a couple of winning keywords. And I'm really tempted to go all in by raising the bids on these keywords. I'm mixing them with high ranking keywords. What approach can you recommend? If you find really good keywords that you're converting on really, really well, do not be afraid to fully dominate those keywords. Now, always make sure you understand what the actual search volume for those keywords is and that you're going to eventually run out of pace there, right? Don't overpay. Don't have a super high cost per click and overpay, because Amazon will let you overpay for keywords. They are not in the business of charging you less than what you are saying you will pay. So just keep that in mind, that Amazon is absolutely going to charge you whatever it is you put. If you're getting good volume, don't artificially raise your ACoS if you don't have to. Let's see. What do you think is good selling price if my product landed cost $10? What's your product selling price? Like product price times 3 times, or again, I would look at final being somewhere between the idea of a net profit 15-25%. That's kind of what I would consider to be a good product. So for something that's landed at $10, let's assume that you probably have to sell it somewhere around the ballpark of $45 to $55 to kind of get within that realm. It may be a little bit less, maybe a little bit more, but that's just a general rule of thumb that I stick by for the most part. Roichi, what can the connections do for you at these fairs when they're trying to sell you their services? I think connections general are always a good thing to have. Never great example. The only reason I am working at my Amazon guy right now is because of a connection I made like 2 years prior at one of these trade shows, fairs, whatever you want to call them, right? And the person that I had met reached out to me because there was a position open, and they were like, "I think this person might be a good fit." That is the only reason that I am here, right? Doing this right now, which is wild to think about when you think about that. I'm sure there's a bunch of other things, technically speaking, when we get into it that are the case. But yeah, connections are great to make. You never know when they might be, useful in the future. Viper 1. After my first year, I sold a lot and learned a lot through you, Mag, and the Amazon beings. My goal this year is to be more profitable. Besides managing logistics, optimize listing, and great reviews, what can I do to be more profitable? The biggest thing for profit, you have to really, really work on the manufacturing side, right? So first off, yes, obviously your advertising, always try and get your tacos to be as low as possible. That's a really, really big thing for profitability, but it comes down to on Amazon, 2 biggest things for profitability are going to be your logistics and your supply chain, and your cost of goods, things like that. And then obviously a secondary one would be your ad spend. So where are you actually getting all of that? How much are you reinvesting into the business? These are all things that are going to come down for profitability. Trying to cut down on returns is super huge. I would almost consider that to be somewhat part of logistics, right? But yeah, these are the areas that I really would focus on if you're really just truly looking at profitability this year. Rosina, can we do bulk file upload in Walmart? Also, must we fill in all fields when listing a product? Yes, Walmart has bulk file uploads. I would absolutely do them because it's still, yes, a pain in the butt to have to try and list everything. Do you have to fill in all fields when listing a product? I don't believe so. It's very similar in the sense that you can do partial updates, but if you're doing a brand new product, I would fill in as many of the fields as possible. Let's see. Okay, following up, based on average bid rate being like $2, let's say your product sells for 30, what should the ideal landed cost for your product be for you to be safely profitable or even break even on average? First and foremost, John, here's what I'll tell you. Amazon has a great FBA profit calculator that I will always recommend to people. It's a great tool. It's one of the only tools that I think is just fantastic on Amazon because it gives you actual costs and profits and everything. So absolutely first to use that. Secondarily, let's say that my average bid rate was $2. I'm selling a product for 30. I would want my ideal landed cost to probably be $3 to $5. So we just were talking about someone else. His is $9, $10, somewhere in that range. I'd want to be like half that to be at 30. That's just a comfortable place for me because you have to think about the idea of how much is it going to cost you per click, right? So what is your actual click going to cost you, or customer acquisition cost is another way to put it, right? You have to understand what the overall market is going to look like. You have to understand. So realistically, yeah, I would not want to be more than, let's say, $6, but I would love it if I'm somewhere between like $1 and $3 per unit, which I realize isn't possible until you're probably doing volume. But if you can see a path forward for that, that's great to know. John, I'm creating broad and phrase campaigns and wondering if it's better to group max 5 keywords by theme despite different search volumes or focus on similar search volume ranges. No, I think that's totally fine. At the end of the day, keyword, if you're just talking about keywords from a matching standpoint, that's fine. It doesn't matter. The broadened phrase is what really matters. The different keywords within those campaigns is not what matters. You will probably see one or two of them perform way better. Your search terms will matter immensely here. So make sure that your search terms and negations are well updated with how they need to be. But that's really what's going to matter most of all for you here. Asif, we're currently selling on the US market and don't have any other accounts. What's the best approach to expand to the UK? Should we register a new account there, or is it better to link our existing US account? What would you recommend? I would link the existing US account. That's going to make your life a lot easier. Go through Amazon Sell globally. It will be easy to set up the listings, link them to your ASINs, set up your new UK account. It'll all be linked into the same Seller Central. It'll make your life 1,000 times easier when you inevitably 5 years down the line are like, oh, we should had all of this in the first place. Yeah. So I would do it that way. Should I keep different search volume keywords in different campaigns, as in keywords above 100 searches, 500? And not really, no. I mean, realistically, you're going to have some issues, obviously, with impression differences and some keywords taking up more of the overall campaign budget than other keywords. And if that's the case, yes, put them into their own campaign, but you don't need to split things up like that for a search volume perspective. Josh, thanks, Noah. No problem. And then we have Blizzard, and I think this will be a last one because I got to get out of here and my throat is killing me, guys. Would you say a deodorizer for shoes, profit per pieces is $3.90, good product to sell? Smaller price products sell faster. I'm seeing growth, 1,200 units. So yeah, first off, you said everything that followed by, you asked the question, do you think this is a good product to sell? Then followed up with, this product is selling really well. To answer your question, Blizzard, yeah, $3.90 is good profit. That's a really, really good profit per unit to have, especially if it's a small product. If you're selling if you're making nearly $4 in profit per unit, that's great. Especially if you're selling 1,200 units, fantastic. Now, I would be curious if that's gross profit or net profit, but I'm guessing probably gross. But still, at the end of the day, that's really good, Blizzard. Congrats on that. We got, thanks for the help, man. You are very kind. I hope I will come back in 3 months with my successful launch. Hey, come back every single week if you want. Asif, thank you for the session. I value your expertise. Not a problem. I love it. I love it. I love it. We did get one final question. What is the best CTR and highly competitive ASIN in the market? CTR, as far as like super competitive, are you looking for a percentage? If you're looking for a percentage, try and shoot somewhere between the ballpark of like 3 and 15%. Like that is realistically, if you're talking about like what is competitive in the market, it depends on your market, right? And how many products there are. But anyhow, I will call it there, guys. I got a little bit of things I got to do, and let me show this. We are My Amazon Guy. If you guys don't know, my name is Noah Wickham, our sales director here. If you guys are ever curious in having us do anything, we're a full service agency. We do all sorts of things. The PPC 2025 guide just covered me up again, and I guess that will be my thing. Where, how do I link that? How do I link the 2025 guide, Gilbert? There we go. FBA Seller Life, Amazon PPC guide. If you guys are curious, we have that. I think we'll put it in the comments as well. But that's our guide for Q1 PPC. Definitely check that out. You guys been seeing it on the screen this whole time as well. Past that, if you guys are looking for any services, we essentially do full service across the board. Anything and everything you can imagine on Amazon is what we essentially cover, from design work, troubleshooting, even just random one-off coaching calls if that's something that you need. So if you guys are looking for some help, feel free to reach out to us. Outside of that, I will be back next week, next Friday. We are here every single Friday at 12 p.m. Eastern. So come back, check us out. We'll be on YouTube, LinkedIn, everything. If you guys are looking for some cool information throughout the week, follow us over on LinkedIn. Follow myself as well, Noah Wickham on LinkedIn. Constantly posting news and updates over there. So hope everyone has a great weekend and a great week ahead. Thanks, guys.